Should you or should you not use a UV or clear glass filter on the end of your camera lens? Well, I'm very strongly in the yes, always use a UV or clear glass filter on the end of your camera lens, no matter what camp. I don't think I'll ever be dissuaded from that, and these are my reasons why. Firstly, I'm a Leica guy, and I own a whole stack of Leica lenses, and I just can't afford to replace any of them in a hurry if something happened. But also, when I buy a camera lens, or when I get into a camera system, I tend to trade up, and I want my lenses to retain their resale value, because for example, I'll save up for Leica, I'll get into Leica, I'll buy a couple of their lenses, but then I want to do more with their system, and I want to buy the next lens up. So then I have to sell the lenses that I'm not using anymore, and I want them to look like they're brand new. And I want them to not have any scratches or marks on the lenses that could badly affect their value. And I have to say, if you've got kids with dirty fingers, if you're taking your camera into anywhere where it's likely that anything organic might touch the lens, could be a little bit of rain, dirt, whatever could fall onto your lens, I'm sure you'd much rather be cleaning the end of, say, a $30, $40 Hoya filter than actually trying to clean your lens itself. Because cleaning a lens, putting anything into contact with the glass of your lens, is not fun. And you do risk doing more harm than good, particularly if there's a bit of grit or something on your cleaning cloth. Or if you're one of the numpties who I've seen around who seems to grab their shirt cuff and do that on the end of your lens. Now, about 15 years ago now, I used to work in a camera store. And I will say, when we sold a UV or a clear glass filter for $49.95, the store was making about $40 out of that UV filter. That is true. There is a massive markup on UV filters for lenses. Polarizers as well, in fact. And yeah, in that camera store, if I sold something like a $2,000-$3,000 telephoto lens for Canon or Nikon with a big diameter on the end, I would say, hey, I'll take $50 off of this $300 filter for you if you buy it with the lens in order to protect it. And the store was making like $220 out of that. That was true, that was the case. But for me now, spending many tens of thousands of dollars on Leica glass, and also Fuji glass as well, I will always buy UV filters to put on the ends of them. And I'll generally buy something like a Hoya filter for about $50 to go on there. I don't really buy into, I don't see a benefit of buying a more expensive filter. And I definitely don't see my images get degraded by using a filter. Now, sure enough, if you do use some of the cheap no-name filters that you might get from a dubious eBay seller or some dark place online, things like this can happen. So we've got some corner darkening in the edges, and that's caused by a shadow of the UV filter where the ring or the mount of the glass is actually too far in front of the lens, or it's just too thick, and so it's creating a shadow. That can happen. At the same time, some weird filters, you can sometimes see the reflection of your own lens in your picture. But I've found that particularly the Hoya ones, it just doesn't seem to happen. I've never seen it happen on any of my photos when I've used an OK filter for like $50. And on one occasion, I've experienced a bird poo on the end of my lens. It wasn't actually this lens, but it was a Leica lens. It hit the end of the hit the UV filter. I just replaced the UV filter, and I wasn't paranoid about any of that white goo from the bird discolouring the glass or getting anywhere else in the lens itself. It was easy. The UV filter protected my lens. Now, I've never seen any images that I've taken be adversely affected by using a UV filter. Let's have a look at this one. Some glass buildings and trees out in the sun. So here it is with a UV filter at a 100% crop. And here it is again without a UV filter. I just can't tell the difference. And even if there was an absolute minuscule difference there, that some photographers might say, no, a UV filter will slightly adversely affect my images. Well, the thing is that when we share images today, right, I mean, it's not like all of us who have got cameras are lucky enough to have our images in high-res photo books or hung up in galleries. We just don't do that. How do we share our images today? We share them on Facebook, Instagram, by email, on Flickr, those sorts of things. And all of that JPEG compression would be affecting the image a whole lot more than what a UV filter could be affecting it by. So that's why I tend to think, well, that's why I'm completely in the pro camp for UV filters. I believe that we should always be putting UV filters on our lenses, and I just don't buy the argument that a UV filter is going to adversely affect our images, or even if it is adversely affecting our images, I don't think we could notice it unless we're really pixel peeping. And I honestly don't think that the people who are looking at the photos that we're creating and are either being informed by them or are enjoying those images, I actually just don't think those people care whether we use a UV filter or not. But, and so I have to say, I don't think you would know, or you would notice if you were or you weren't using a UV filter. But if you'd scratched a lens because you didn't have a UV filter on there, you're definitely going to notice the difference in your bank balance.